Why is this still a challenge now? Because I mean, this is something that I see all the time. Like my friends in Vancouver move to Toronto, and you can't even have that information brought here. But you would assume that on a digital world that we live in, it would already be automatic. Why is this a problem that is still happening now?
And I'm going to say, I don't know if this is going to be controversial, but this isn't a technology problem. Interoperability in other industries exists today. Interoperability in other countries is far more advanced than what we have in, I'm going to say Canada and certain other countries. And in the US, even they've mandated some certain things around. I'm going to talk about standards. It's a good time to talk about standards. So, for interoperability to happen, there's a few different things. So you have to actually put in the ability for the systems to talk to each other. So how are they going to communicate? Is it, sending a message, or is it through like an API? But they have to agree on how they're going to talk to each other. And then they also have to agree on what that data is going to look like. So if I send you a bunch of text and it's in a certain line in a file, like how are you supposed to know that that's the patient last name, or that's the diagnosis that I've given the patient? And what has happened, I think, especially here, is because we have so many different jurisdictions in Canada, and they're all sort of independently responsible for making their own choices. They have often made different choices about the things they want to use. And to further separate that, what you have is the EMR vendors, so like the systems that are on the other side of this. So if you're going to send a message, and say referral from like your family doctor to a cardiologist, those might be two different vendors for those electronic medical record systems. So they don't automatically know what the other one wants from them, right? Like, how do you receive the message? What is the data in the message? Like, how can you tell? How can you agree? And what's more than that, all the vendors tend to be sort of for-profit. They aren't always super collaborative, but they're looking to the government to sort of tell them what to do. So the government doesn't always have their mind made up. So I've seen now, I'm going to say 3 or 4 different projects and standards along the line of things like, e-referrals and electronic consult and electronic prescribing in just even BC, but also separate standards and separate methods of communication across Canada. So it's just like this hodgepodge. And the US came in and they smacked everybody, and they're like, you're going to use FHIR, which is Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, which is sort of an international, like totally independent standard that they've adopted. And what's happening now is we're seeing Canada sort of shift in that direction, both at the top level, not as a mandate, but just as sort of best practice, but also collaboratively, the provinces sort of starting to get together and say, why can't we figure this out? And they're moving in that direction. But it really is just because the ecosystem is so incredibly fragmented and siloed, and the players want different things. And some of the players don't want to talk to each other. They want the government to tell them what to do. Then the government doesn't know what it wants to do. And then, you'll get a new government, and that government wants to do something different. So it's just been such a challenge. Like I said, it's not technology. It is people, and it is process, and it is policy. But I do feel like we're starting to finally, kind of for the first time, really obviously for the first time, I kind of feel like we're there. We have some good plans, not just in BC, but I've seen the other provinces really aggressively starting to move in those same directions. And together, collaboration.